Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. It's only been a few months, but Samsung has launched a revamped version of its Galaxy A51 mid-ranger, this time with 5G support. But what else is different this time around? Let's find out in our Galaxy A51 5G review. The Galaxy A51 5G brings looks that are extremely similar to its predecessor. Ours is in Prism Cube White, and its glossy back has a striped pattern accent. Just as the A51, its back is made from an unspecified material, probably some sort of polycarbonate. But you do get a small upgrade here in the aluminum frame, and as a result the phone feels more premium in the hand. On the front of the A51 5G is a 6.5-inch SuperAMOLED display, much like the one on the 4G version. It has a 1080p resolution and a circular cutout for the 32-megapixel selfie cam. This display is great, performing about the same as the regular A51s. Contrast is excellent, being an AMOLED screen, and there's good brightness, up to 410 nits maximum with the slider, and up to 640 nits in auto mode when out in the sun. Colors are vivid. You can opt for a more accurate output in settings, but the colors won't pop as much. The A51 5G has its fingerprint reader located under the display. It recognizes you reliably to wake up and unlock the phone, but it's not the fastest reader you'll find out there. For audio, the A51 5G has a single speaker on the bottom of the phone. It's not too loud, scoring an average rating in our loudness test, and it doesn't impress with quality either. Its output sounds muffled and lacks in both lows and mid-tones. You do get a traditional headphone jack on the Galaxy A51 5G, and there's FM radio support too, with headphones plugged in. But if you want to, there's plenty of space to keep your music on the phone. There's 128 gigs of onboard storage, which is expandable through microSD. The A51 5G runs the latest, up-to-date iteration of Samsung's One UI over Android 10. This smooth and bloat-free interface is pretty ubiquitous amongst Samsung devices. Edge panels are a feature that you often see on Samsungs these days. They offer a convenient space to keep shortcuts in. Another neat feature is the integration of Google Duo into the phone app, which lets you initiate video calls straight from the dialer. Under the hood of the A51 5G is an Exynos 980 chipset, a major upgrade over the Exynos 9611 in the regular A51. You get performance that's comparable to phones with a Snapdragon 765G, which is one of the best mid-range chipsets available right now. Everything runs quite fast and smooth, including games, and the thermals are pretty good too. We didn't notice any throttling. And of course, you get support for 5G connectivity. The A51 5G packs a 4500 mAh battery, 500 more than what you'd get on the regular A51, and battery life is slightly better as a result. It's not a huge difference. The 5G scored an endurance rating of 90 hours in our battery life tests, versus 86 on the older model. The phone comes with a 15-watt quick charger in the box. It can top up the phone at a decent, but not lightning-fast speed. We were able to charge from 0 to 40% in half an hour. The Galaxy A51 5G brings the same camera setup as the regular Galaxy A51, arranged in an L-shaped configuration. There's a 48-megapixel quad-Bayer main cam, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide cam, a 5-megapixel macro cam, and a depth sensor. In daylight, the main cam captures really good-looking 12-megapixel photos. There's a lot of fine detail, well-contained noise, and wide dynamic range. Colors are vivid, and the sharpening level is what you'd expect from a current Samsung. There is a 48-megapixel mode, which lets you extract some more fine detail in well-lit scenes, at the trade-off of lower contrast and color saturation, and more noise. Portraits are taken with the main cam and the depth sensor, and these are really good. Subject detection and separation are awesome, and the defocused backgrounds look just right. The good impressions continue with the ultra-wide cam. These 12-megapixel photos have good detail and almost no noise, as well as wide dynamic range. The lively color rendition matches the main cams as well. The macro cam does a fair job of producing close-up shots of tiny objects. There's enough detail at the 5-megapixel resolution, but the fixed focus means you need some trial and error to get these to come out sharp. In low light, we actually see an improvement over the photos from the vanilla Galaxy A51. The main cam produces better detail and color saturation. Dynamic range is decent enough, and there is some visible noise. If you turn on night mode, the results are nice. There's lower noise, without a noticeable penalty in detail. Colors are more saturated, and there's a marked improvement in the highlights and shadows. The ultra-wide cam's output is also a step up from the A51's. While not spectacular, the images have more detail, especially in better lit areas, decent dynamic range, and good color rendition. There is still plenty of noise though. The ultra-wide supports night mode too, and you get better sharpness, increased dynamic range, and more saturated colors. Another improvement over the Galaxy A51. Selfies from the 32 megapixel front-facing cam come out in either 8 megapixels or 12, depending on if you use the wide or cropped-in view. These turn out pretty decent. There's good detail, excellent dynamic range, and likable yet muted colors. The A51 5G supports 4K video capture with the selfie cam, and these are alright. There isn't any stabilization in this mode though, and there's some over-sharpening. The A51 5G doesn't record 60fps video from any of its cameras. 4K footage from the rear main cam is heavily sharpened, but contains plenty of detail and is mostly noise-free. Dynamic range and colors are excellent too. 4K video from the ultra-wide cam is quite detailed, with again excellent dynamic range. Colors are a bit more saturated here. Electronic video stabilization is available in 4K resolution here. The main cam has a tendency to focus hunt while you're walking, but keeping it pointed at a subject will result in a nicely stable video. You don't get focus hunting on the fixed focus ultra-wide cam, so you can easily walk and shoot with it. There's also a super steady mode, which is taken with the ultra-wide cam in 1080p resolution. It gives you an even smoother result. So that's the Galaxy A51 5G. You get a solid mid-range build, a bright and colorful AMOLED display, good battery life, competitive performance, and some decent cameras. All in all, a pretty nice package. And the benefits here over the original A51 go beyond just 5G connectivity. You get much better chipset performance, and camera quality in low light. And the battery life here is a bit improved too. But you have to keep in mind that right now, this one is going to cost you about $500. That's $200 more than the regular A51. So these features don't come for free. If the faster network speeds are important to you, then the A51 5G is worth recommending. It's actually one of the cheaper 5G phones available. Otherwise, at this price, there are plenty of more powerful 4G phones to choose from. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.